Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud. And this is the Vendettas episode 5 recap. Guilty by association. Or, I would have called it, convenience over power move. Meaning, the big aim in this episode for the Troika, or the Troika. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. I'm so ashamed. But the big thing was like Tony, Marie, and Zach all hate Brad. And thus, they are going to put in, what's her fuck? Brittany. Brittany, yes. I want to call her Tori so much. I don't know why. It's probably because of Brad. Because that's usually the woman he's with. So, and she was also like a fucking pageant queen or whatever. What are they called? Yeah, pageant queen. So I'm just like, I just call her Tori. I've called her Tori so many times, but it's Brittany. Anyways, yeah, all these three guys who won power in the previous episode, Tony, Marie, and Zach, they all either don't trust Brad, dislike Brad, or like to make fun of Brad. You know, that's Zach at the very end. Zach is more detached, but he's just like, yeah, fuck Brad. You know, let's make fun of him, right, guys? Yeah, you know. But yeah, convenience over power move, because the whole episode, you could say, is a build up to the elimination. And it's just Melissa, you know, like Melissa's nominated as well as Brittany, but she ends up just doing that classic shit that gets you thrown into eliminations. You know, the stuff that we love as viewers and producers, I suppose, the cast hates. They're like, God, fuck you. You know, you're going into elimination. It's just that they choose Melissa over Brittany. So it's like, you know, all this buildup, Pizzagate, the previous episode, you know, like, again, this was a to be continued from the previous episode. The big buildup of that previous episode was Marie versus Brad, you know, and the whole pizza shenanigans that was going on. And so you want to tune in, like, oh my God, how's this settled? Marie, Tony, Zach, they all have power. They put it, you know, put in Brad. They put in Brad's better half, if you will, Brittany. You know, this is the conclusion. No, it's not. It's pushed aside for this Melissa person who's, you know, this episode, like, she's the MVP for me. Like, she was awesome this episode, for the best things and the worst things ever. You know, like, usually I don't like drama, but this fucking whole season, the challenge itself, it's drama over challenges. You know, it should be called the drama. You know, yeah, it really should be called. It should be called the drama, the prolonged drama, the soap opera, and that's what it is. This is a very soap opera-y show. You know, like, you ever watch Days of Our Lives? You ever watch Passions? You know, you can't just jump into a season because it's just this, like, previously on blah, blah, blah. You're like, what? Oh, okay, so that guy's in a coma, and she has an evil twin, and that guy's not really dead. You know, but it's just like you... God, could you imagine that, having to jump back all that far to get caught up to Days of Our Lives? You're like, what's happening with John Black? Who is that, Stefano? Oh, God. As you could tell, I have watched Days of Our Lives. But Jesus Christ, what I'm getting at is that, you know, you tune in and you're like, oh, Brad is going to get his comeuppance, whether you agree with it or not, by sending Brittany in, you know, and it doesn't happen. Melissa gets put in. Now, I'm not saying, like, you know, the elimination is a bore. No, it's actually amazing. It's just that all the storyline, all the drama dedicated to the previous episode does not pay off in this episode at all. In fact, it's a whole bunch of different drama involving someone else, Melissa, and I don't know. It's just, I don't know why I want to call the challenge out on their bullshit. I mean, it's not like it's going to do anything. It's not going to matter. But let's get on to the fucking episode. We'll get into all the details. So we start off. Wait, actually, no. I actually dismissed a lot of the drama that was going on in the house. I have some notes written down, but they're sark at best. But I just have written down Tony, Marie, Zach fail to make their power move. Or, yeah, that's how I wrote. overall. But they're in the what do you even call it when they're looking at those three screens? I don't even know what it's called, where they have to choose who goes in and shit. And right away, it's all just kind of like, eh. I think Zach and Tony are in agreement where they're like, hey, we actually like Sylvia, the person who's going into elimination. As she's sick, which sucks. So for some reason, we feel bad for her. All of a sudden, we care. And Sylvia mentioned she wanted both of the British chicks in there. So that's Melissa and Kaylee. There's almost no debate right away. It's those two are nominated right off the bat. And then Maria's hesitant to nominate Brittany because she's like, it's all going to come back to me. Everyone's going to hate me and shit like that. But it is decided. Brittany's going in. So Melissa, Brittany, Kaylee, they're going in. The doors open. Everyone's like, oh my God, who is that? And shit. What else do I got written down? Okay, so those are the three nominations, right? It really seems that it's gonna be Brittany going in because Brad's like, oh God, like there's this whole scene where Brad's like, I gotta do work, you know what I mean? I gotta fucking make sure that my girl doesn't go in and stuff. And and then let's cut to the Inquisition dinner, where Melissa, Brittany, and Kaylee show up. Melissa is wearing a slapper outfit. Kaylee, who's British, she's just like, listen, it's called a slapper out. Okay, I can't do the impression, but she's like, that's what we call a slut in overseas in Britain and shit. A slapper. I never heard that before. I'm guessing it's a new word over there. Like they weren't always calling them slappers and shit. I'm sure that's like, what was the newest word that I heard, which is old by now? Ratchet? Yeah, there you go. Like actually Kaylee's just like, I'm going to fucking bring this word over to the States and it's going to catch on like gangbusters. Do you know that? And I'll be crowned as Miss Words. Miss Words. But, like she's like, oh, I'm going to introduce USA to Slapper and shit like that. But anyways, Melissa's wearing this suit. And she's talking about like how, what happens? Oh, shit, that's right. Before he gets to Melissa, Kaylee is just like, hey, I'm a good person. And if you leave me alone, I will leave you alone. It's very non-controversial. Unlike her confessional where she's like, oh, she's a slapper. You know what I mean? She's like, we don't believe in girl power over there. Over in the UK anymore, I'll tell you that much. Put down other women, that's right. Here in America, we're like, no, we gotta help each other out and shit like that. Although that's failing as well. And then Brittany is like, hey, this is bullshit because this is, because why? Because I let Brad inside me every night and you guys could hear it? That's bullshit. Okay, she's not that coarse. But, that's kind of rubbing the guys the wrong way. And, of course, that is the truth. Everything is leading up to Brittany getting pushed in. But then Melissa is like, no, they push it onto her. Where they're like, your relationship with Nicole, maybe it's Kayla who brings it up as a question. She's like, I don't think it's real that you're trying to be with Nicole. I think this is a showmance. You do this every time. You've taken 2 of my men away from me with your vacuum of a vagina. And but Melissa's like, hey, you know what? What did she say? I don't even remember. It doesn't matter because let's get on to the better stuff. After the Inquisition dinner, they go out to the bar and then again Kaylee's trying to convince Nicole like, hey, it's all phony and shit. And I don't even remember. Does Nicole say like, yeah, I don't care. All right, she fucking sucks on it. She's like, sucks on what? And Nicole's like, it. I don't know what I'm getting at. But anyways, after that, they get back from the bar. Everyone's drunk as per usual. And I think it's Cam who's like, hey, man, they're all talking shit. And was like, I don't care. And but they're getting into each other's face. I'm impressed by a couple things. First of all, I think Cam's awesome. I'm just so interested in her. I'm like waiting to see what she does. But at the same time, she's doing plenty. She is doing plenty of work. Anyways, she's getting in this argument with Melissa. And Melissa doesn't want to back down either. And I'm like, girl, you got like, she's got how many pounds on you and taller and shit. And I mean that in the best way possible, because like Melissa just seems so tiny and shit. And I'm like, you're a cheerleader, what do you know? But I forget that she's actually an MMA fighter as well. Like, she's all around in shape. So is Cam, and these two aren't backing down. Jemmy throws herself into the mix. She's like, no, I got homespun wisdom, y'all. Shit like that. This is terrible. I've made 3 impersonations. They're all horrible. But after that, I mean, this is a big back and forth. Women have to come in and divide them. So do the men. I think Kyle gets in there and he's like, I'm not going to do his fucking voice. But he's like, hey, stay away from each other or whatever, you know. Give me the camera time. And but anyways, this goes on for a while. The next morning, Cam is in the kitchen. People are saying like, so what was going on or whatever. I don't know. But she's saying like, yeah, you know, she wouldn't step down. She's just this little chihuahua who wants to talk to me. Like, she even came up to me the next morning and was like, hey, don't ever do... Oh, fuck, their impression again. But don't ever step up to me again and shit like that. You know, I'll fucking slap you around and, you know, if for the sake of Her Majesty's Secret Service, you know. But anyways, Cam is still talking about this. Banana comes in, hungover, I imagine. He's like, oh, God, can you just drop it? Enough of this business with Melissa or whatever. And I thought that was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. The fucking Forever 21 poster boy, Johnny Bananas, who's actually like, what, 35, 36, something like that. He's telling someone to please drop it and stop bringing something up. Like, that's all that Bananas does. He's like, oh, I like to stir that pot, and I like to ruffle feathers, and I like to get people all riled up and shit. And here's Cam doing the exact same thing. Bananas like, please let's talk about something else, guys. You know, I just thought that was hilarious. I wanted Cam to be like, oh no, fuck you, and then get in his face as well. Like, oh my God, it would have been great. That does not happen. But what the fuck? Oh, let's get into the actual elimination itself. It's called Oil and Water. This is straight up wrestling. Well, for a ball. Was it best 3 out of 5? What would be the math? Oh shit. But anyways, it's Melissa versus Sylvia. Okay, again, Tony, Marie, Zach, they get to the elimination. TJ's like, well, what are your guys' choices? The most uneventful thing. In fact, the first person to talk, I believe, is Marie. She's like, he's like, who did you pick, and what was your reason? And Marie's like, it was Melissa, because it was the easy choice. Tony says the same thing. So does Zach. You know, they're just like, this was the easy choice. Because Melissa caused friction in the house. That bypassed any personal begrudges. Show is called Vendettas. Now I understand that, like, within the show, you're going to hate someone else over the other person. Like, in Rivals. It's not like only teammates hated each other. No, it was like West versus CT, or like the whole house versus CT, you know? I'm just saying is that this show is billed as vendettas, yet this episode, it's not about the personal vendettas. I mean, this is more just like, oh, what a nuisance. Let's get rid of her. So they all send in Melissa versus Sylvia instead of Brittany versus Sylvia, which would have been probably just an equal exciting match. But it's Melissa versus Sylvia. All I have written down is that the first round, Melissa won it. She was very impressive to me. Like, she has all these moves and shit. She's like clinching and like, you know, she knows where to like place her legs to trip and shit. Like, they have to be on their knees and stuff, but that didn't matter for Melissa. Like, she was so quick with her movements and her adjustments, and transitions from move to move. It was fantastic. I was like, oh shit, that's right. She's an MMA fighter. That's great. So Sylvia, who's been sick this entire time, she gets scored on the first round. I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. But then round 2 happens, and even though Melissa puts on this awesome fucking wrestling clinic on Sylvia, she also fucking fights dirty. She's like knees to the groin and stomach. She fucking when she's trying to get the ball out of Sylvia's arm, she pulls her leg up real far as if she's gonna try and do like an arm bar or something like that, and uses the fucking the heel of her foot to just fucking kick Sylvia in the head. It was such a dirty, amazing fight. I just loved every minute of it. But Sylvia eventually she scores, and then round 3, and it's the same thing where Sylvia's like Melissa's pulling hair and shit, and Sylvia eventually like has enough where she like raises her fist, and she's like, I gotta knock you the fuck out, but she doesn't, and they continue on with the match and shit. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like, I get it. I get what's going on, but like the stickler and like, oh, hold on though, that's a violent act right there. Like intentionally like raising a fist. Like producers, what the fuck? What's going on? Kick her out. That would have been ridiculous. That would have been so controversial and stupid. But I'm just saying, it's like, wow, she like raised her fist and said, I gotta knock you the fuck out. Like that is that's violence. Maybe they're like, the producers are like, oh well, that it wasn't in the house, so technically it's okay. No, it's bullshit. Anyways, round 4, Sylvia wins as well. Like this was up there with like some of the best eliminations we've had. And not that it matters, but it's probably one of the best women's eliminations. I was just gonna say like in general it was good, but yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, in general it was good. For women, it was just fine. I didn't even notice they were women. You know what I mean? Although it was pretty sweet, like when they're like oiling each other up. But and I laughed because it wasn't like hot or sexy. Like I complained in the previous episode, like episode 2, where like they showed the guys like oiling each other up and shit. I'm like, where the fuck? Where was the shot of the women and stuff like that? Maybe this is why, because they have these buckets of like oil and they're trying to pour it on each other and shit, but it's not sexy at all because like they could barely hold the bucket I just thought it was really funny looking. I'm like, what? I thought I would have captured this moment with my eyeballs for a future spank bank or something like shit like that, but I'm just like, I thought it was just silly. It was just funny. It was cute. Anyways, you know what though, shocking, and yet not too shocking. Melissa is eliminated. Now, it was Melissa. She got this entire episode of build-up, right? Meanwhile, Sylvia is just like kind of cold. She's wrapped up in blankets. She's not looking like, intimidating at all. So all this build-up and Melissa's gone by this person who was sick. Nicole is just like, oh, fuck, you had this. What the fuck happened? I don't know what she said, but it's just, it's all her fucking annoying voice. There again, another impersonation, but I don't even enjoy trying to pursue that elimination. It's an elimination to pursue that impersonation. That's so goddamn awful. Either way, Nicole lost her fucking partner. It's all unraveling. The episode's done. All right. I stated on the previous episode, where I'm like, you know what? I'm not, like the magic kind of ran out of this season already for me. And my co-host Scott, he was like, no, it's getting better. So I'm curious on what he has to say. He's not here for this episode, but all I gotta say is this: saved a little by a cool elimination. But again, like the drama of the previous episode, Brad being hated on and shit, it was just like, it takes a backseat to Melissa. I want Melissa to come back. I really do. Oh shit! But then we got some grenades, and that's where we end off at, where they're like, where TJ's like, hey Sylvia, here's some grenades. You could take any of these 3. You could either do the money, take $10,000. Now right away, if I'm fucking Nelson, I'm like, what the shit? $10,000? I only got $5,000 when I fucking competed, and not only did I fucking win my elimination as well, but I took out my goddamn best friend and only got $5,000 for the troubles. So 10,000. Sylvia can take $10,000 from anyone she wants, except for the Trioka. The next grenade is Endure, where you can make someone do this an endurance thing before the mission itself. Next episode or whenever it happens. That sounds a lot better than drinking the gallon of cream before before a mission. That was just ridiculous. And then the third grenade is Order Up, where you get to decide the order in which the players compete in the mission. What can I say? 3 options. The endurance thing, I don't think it's going to happen because it's like, well, they might wear them out a little bit more. I think it's either going to be the order because Melissa did that. Oh, that's right. Melissa was like, hey, I made this order. I put you guys together. You guys won. And they're like, fuck you. Was it Tony, Marie, and Zach? But anyways, going back to Sylvia and her choice, I'd almost take the 10 grand and then just hope to win by your own. Because if she can't make up the order, then it's just going to be random, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Again, we just cut off. And then the magic just still isn't here. I don't know what else to say. I'm slowly losing momentum and steam and enthusiasm. So subscribe, comment. This was Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.